And that's probably the oldest cemetery in our area. It's got Simon Pomondon, these first Puget Sounders, non-natives. So I think this is my last picture, but this is an 1860 or 69. Memories went out of me. Picture of Fort Nisqually showing what the fort would have looked like in its heyday. What you're seeing here is the fort out here. Again, the palisades, the bastion are already gone by this time. You see the cattle here in the foreground. You see College Creek. You see sheep. You see the barns. You get a kind of flavor of Fort Nisqually would have looked like about the 1860s. And I believe that's it. Well, what happened to Fort Nisqually? Eventually, I was talking with some folks here tonight. We were talking about the history of Fort Nisqually. I was looking at the bird, the bird artifacts out here. The bird family, they were squatters, by the way. They squatted on that land in Nigeria. Yeah, they were so many people who are the early arrivals. We did take the best prairie land. Americans came in, they settled on it. And the Hudson's Bay Company's attitude was usually, Dr. told me, I think he kind of knew. He was told, okay, don't get to a legal squabble with the Americans because you're number one, you're going to lose. You're going to go down and see the American judge, and the American judge is going to rule against you. So basically, the Hudson's Bay Company, they would serve notice, say, get off the land. And they didn't say much on formal land. But usually, often they would stay. Sometimes they left, sometimes they didn't. The Bird family stayed. We talked about the Keith artifacts out there. All this associated with this area. In 1869, the U.S. government would pay the Hudson's Bay Company $650,000 in gold for all their south of the border holdings. That was a wonderful...
South of where?
South of the 49th parallel holdings. Everything the Hudson's Bay Company controlled down here in western United States.
How much did they pay?
$650,000 in gold. Very fair. When you look at what the Canadians paid the Hudson's Bay Company for the land, it was not nearly as generous. So, and I think in many ways, the Hudson's Bay Company, after the last time the Puget Sound Agricultural Company paid its last dividend in 1855. And then from 1855 to 1869, when the final boundary agreement was made, the Hudson's Bay Company basically their policy was just hold on to the land. Hold the land. Don't rattle the Americans. Hold on to it. Tolerate them, because we know eventually the Americans are going to have to settle. In 1869 they did, and they got decided to settle. So that happened towards Nisqually. All the south border holdings would close, and you want to see the Hudson's Bay Company Day. So, just any questions? Anybody confused? Go ahead.
Does anyone live on the fort at this time?
Point Defiance Park or original site?
No, Point Defiance Park.
No. It's not a requirement anymore that anybody live on the original site. We all live.
Because back in 1938, our friends lived there.
Yes.
We often went there for dinner and visited. We lived in the fort. They were caretakers and responsible.
Simon Bishop?
Pardon?
Names were... Okay. Bishop? Simon? Okay. Well, anyway, it used to be a requirement that you had to live at the site, but it's not a requirement. It's not a requirement anymore. Yeah. By the way, the original site for Fort Nisqually, there's actually two sites. I didn't get into that. They moved it in about 1840. They moved it further inland. So if you go down that where I told you to look at today, that's the 1840 site. It's not the original site, which was built closer to the Puget Sound. Both of these sites are protected by the National Archaeological Conservancy. They'll never be built upon.
The original site, is that not on the railroad tracks?
No.
I'm talking about the warehouse at the water.
Oh, good question. I've never gone down, and even years ago, it's absolutely gone. I mean,
Well, I know it's
yeah.
gone, but is there any indication, either by old maps actually changed the, I've been down there
Right.
numerous times, however, there's no trace to give you any indication. I don't know if it's on the north side of the.
According to
creek or
that
the
drawing,
south
it looked
side.
like it was on the south side of Sequoia Creek.
Because there is a little
Right.
flat area down in there.
Right.
However, you know, that was all changed through the years.
Yeah, it's been changed radically, but it looks like to me from the drawing it was on the south side of Sequoia Creek. It's where the beach store, what they called the beach store was. And they talk about Dr. Tomey in his journal spending the night at the beach store. 20 years old, he would go to bed at night with 6 loaded trade guns around his bed and 2 loaded pistols next to his bed. He sleeps the best he can. Yeah, but you gotta understand, you know, you gotta imagine this young Scot coming halfway around the world, and there's these Native Americans, you know, yeah, 6 loaded trade guns. If I could say one more thing, if you'd like to see more of what we do at Fort Nisqually, October 5th and 6th, did I remember my dates? 5th and 6th, we have the candlelight tour at Fort Nisqually. If anybody, has anybody ever seen it here? Okay, recently, last few years, or no?
A few years.
A few years ago. It's a nighttime tour of Fort Nisqually. We're sold out. What you do is you buy a ticket to get on a shuttle bus that leaves from the zoo parking lot. They take you up to the fort because we want to keep all modern intrusions away. And it takes about 45 minutes, and you're dosed led around the fort. And you eavesdrop. We pretend like you're ghosts. You just float through the fort. And we carry on life as it would. Now, normally it's 1855, but this year, it's been that way for the last 10 years, 12 years. This year, we did something different. We shifted to 1857. Living on the edge, right? And we decided to do a little twist, and this year, 1857, there's a man here, I didn't show his picture, but his name is Edward Huggins. He arrived here in 1850 from England. He was the clerk at Fort Nisqually. He was the one who sold 1,000 acres of the fort sat to the DuPont Chemical Company, and he would build this house at the corner of 9th and Ainsworth here in Tacoma, South 9th and Ainsworth, and it still stands there today. Go look at it. And by the way, you look at that house, remember he paid, what, $4,500 to have that built. It's huge. Okay? A little economic thing. Gives you an idea of how far your money went back then. But in 1857, Edward Huggins was married. And so when you come to this year's Candlelight Tour, you'll be able to see his wedding reception. It's going to be a kick. We've never done this before, and it's going to be quite the affair. I will have on a white cravat. I was told. Fun it's going to be. So tickets are $6 for adults, $3 for kids, and like I said, I think we're down to 9:15 and 9:30 starting times. We always sell out every year. So if you're interested in seeing the Candlelight Tour, please don't hesitate too much longer. We always sell out. Call Fort Nisqually, and I have little blue bookmark things I can give you if you want the number and so forth like that. But it's a really fun event. Candlelight Tour. Any other questions? Well, you guys have been a really wonderful audience. Thank you for the privilege of coming out here and talking to you. Great.
I would just like to say that many of you aren't here are members, and some of you joined tonight for the year 2002, some of you old members, some of you new. Please tell your friends about us. We really are working hard. I'm giving a pitch since he did so. And I will be sitting at the desk out there I can sell cards, I can take memberships for 2002, and I can take donations. But on the good side of it, while those of you that are claiming your auction items, there is still a lot of dessert, coffee, punch, and etc. So please help yourself, and thank you so much for coming. And don't forget us next year when you see our advertising.